Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm here with my co-host, Josh. We're about to talk some fantasy football and some regular football. So, Josh, who are you excited to see come back this week?
My fantasy football savior,
Who I traded?
the running back prodigal son, Christian McCaffrey. Welcome home.
Good old CMC.
Who is activated off the IR as of earlier this morning. I think they still have him technically as a game time decision, but considering what happened last year, this is incredible news.
Yeah. But remember, he also came back for 2 games last year and then went out for the rest of the year.
He also re-aggravated it, if I'm not
True.
mistaken, what happened last year.
That's because they brought him back too early.
And what makes this very interesting also is the fact that there is a very solid chance Sam Darnold doesn't play. Because even though he just cleared concussion protocol, he hasn't practiced all week. So PJ Walker may legitimately get the start.
That would be interesting to see EMC out there without Darnold. Yeah. But it also begs the question, do you start DJ Moore since CMC is going to be back?
All right. So here's how I've taken it. And I'm so happy that we started this off right at the back. I have DJ Moore in 2 of my 4 leagues. And in my mind, there's one league where I basically kind of have to start him. But in my mind, you have to his projected number says like 16. Believe it to be 10 at best. If CMC is not out there, New England does this best. They will take out your number 1 receiver, number 1 option, period. So if CMC is out there, then you have hope for DJ Moore.
Yep.
If CMC is not out there, I personally at this point am saying
you can write off DJ Moore.
You can like bench DJ Moore this week, because not only that, dealing with the change at quarterback, though I think PJ Walker is really good, so I can't wait to see how he does against this team.
QBs this year looking really good. Like, I'm surprised. I'm really interested. Speaking of a backup quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is out this week, and we're going to get to see Jordan Love in action for the first time, like real action, not garbage time.
Not preseason either.
And not preseason, real game. We're going to get to see him in action. So I'm interested to see what the future of the Packers organization is going to look like this year or next year after Aaron leaves. So
I think the big thing to mention when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers issue, regardless of, we're just going to only take it as a football perspective. The NFL still views him as unvaccinated. So basically what that means is he is out for 10 weeks. That also, if I'm not mistaken, puts him in question for it's 10 days.
Oh, okay. So, you said 10 weeks, and I'm like,
my bad, not 10 weeks.
Pretty much the rest of the year.
Well, someone else might be out for 10 weeks, and we'll talk about that in a quick second because it breaks my heart. But
I know.
Basically, we all know. But with Aaron Rodgers, that does put him potentially out for next week, and then I could double check who they play. But basically, that does mean Jordan Love may get this week and next week. But really, the big thing that we all have to kind of take a look at here is the fact that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be out there, like as far as practice reps, and so this is basically the 2-week trial of Jordan Love's. Jordan Love. And I'll double check. It's Kansas City this week and Seattle next week. 2 actually very intriguing matchups.
Honestly, like, I see Seattle as a lock for, what happened last week. I think what happened last week with Green Bay, I should say. I think they'll be fine.
I
They'll
think
be
they'll be
fine.
fine
They were
too.
out all of their wide receivers. All of their top wide receiving core was gone, and they made it. I think
Yeah.
they beat they beat the competition. It's
Yeah.
pretty stiff competition at that.
I still think a big
With
chunk of it
backups.
was still Arizona. It was Arizona losing the game as much as
Yeah,
Green Bay won it, but Green Bay came in with a very excellent game plan. So
yeah,
if you're owners of Jordan Love, be pretty confident in the fact that Kansas City's defense is getting slightly better, but they're still kind of trash.
and actually, I have a lineup question for you regarding Jordan Love. He is an option for me to put in at quarterback this week. See, it's between Danny Dimes and Jordan Love for me.
I gotta see who Danny Dimes is playing as I look that up really quick. Daniel Jones plays as Las Vegas. Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. See,
Man. I think it's a
it's
shot in the
tough.
dark if you want to play Jordan Love, but I mean he's gonna have Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. He'll
Oh,
have
he's
everybody.
yeah.
It looks like Galladay, Saquon, Sterling Shepard will be out. Kadarius Toney is in, though Kadarius Toney he's kind of beat up at the moment.
Well, and Galladay will be in, I believe.
Oh, Galladay is in?
I thought Galladay was in.
I may have the wrong update, but I will double check that. Ooh, you know what?
Questionable. He's questionable.
He's questionable.
He's
Pick up.
trending towards playing tomorrow.
How about you pick up Tua instead?
Who's he playing?
Houston.
Oh, true. True, but all
I
he's
would
got is
say
Waddle right now.
I
He's
will.
out Devontae Parker and Will Fuller.
It's Houston. That's all I'll say. Technically, Treat Kasicki has a wide receiver. Take it that
true,
route.
true,
So you at least have two. But
I kind of want to Hail Mary. I think I'm going to lose this week because I'm playing against Tyler, and yeah, he's projected to win like 70%. So I may take a shot in the dark and do Jordan Love just for craps and giggles because I'm probably going to sacrifice this week just for fun.
I'll prop myself up as the first person to beat Tyler this year. Yeah, I think without a doubt for you, if you're down that much, I say take the shot in the dark because
he's projected to win by 20 right now.
Yeah, because without a doubt right now, yeah, let me see. Oh wow, who else beat him? But because without a doubt, I feel like Jordan Love at least is going to get 10 points, personally, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But looking at one, I would not start Lawrence. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no choice. I just realized that. Man.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry. But I totally forgot the Bucks were on by. But basically, all right, back to the original.
But I'm definitely not going to start Lawrence. I looked at the matchup and I was like, thanks. Thank you.
Here's the thing with Jordan Love. You're either going to get 10 or you're going to get 30. To me, there's not going to be an in-between. I think we're going to find out if he's really that good. Like these 2 weeks are so huge and for dynasty reasons. Because it's either going to be we're going to ditch Jordan Love after this year or buy Aaron.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'm very intrigued to see what happens there.
Oh my gosh! So I don't have a choice. Jacob already picked him up, Jordan Love. So I have to pick up Danny Dimes.
Yep, it's Danny Dimes. Out of these people here, I go Danny Dimes. Garoppolo seems like a very interesting play because this is the first time the offense is finally back to basically with everyone. Kittle's supposed to be playing this week. Ayuk, Debo. I think
What
this
about
could be
Tyrod?
Tyrod against Miami's not a bad play. Brandon Cooks seems relevant now, and along with I think I don't know if Nico Collins is playing, but that's not a bad
Yeah,
pickup if you want to go Tyrod because they've already said he has to start, or you
yeah.
could go PJ Walker.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stick with Daniel Jones.
I think
I'm just
Daniel
gonna
Jones
stick
is
with
probably
him.
going to be your best bet there.
Yeah.
Didn't imagine myself
Now
saying that,
who do
but
I
here we are.
now who do I drop though? Probably Randall
Everybody
Cobb.
drop
Randall
okay,
Cobb.
drop out.
Ha. No, thank you. It's between Uzoma and Randall Cobb. Probably Cobb. I'm gonna.
I would go with Cobb.
Yeah. You know who's an interesting pickup this week?
I know I'm looking at him as if we want to announce who. Actually, who are you thinking?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, because okay, one, I did the David Johnson experiment. That's not worth it.
Yeah.
But
No.
there's a tight end that I'm kind of intrigued, but I got two good tight ends now.
Well, see, I was saying pick up AD. Good old AD.
Someone did. I know in our league someone did because I put a
Yeah, in
claim
our
in and
league
didn't
somebody
get.
did, but like in general, that's a
In,
good pickup for
okay,
this week.
okay, so that's a really good transition point to let's talk about the next one. God, this hurts me so much.
The king is dead.
The Yeti, the
He's
people's
dead.
champ. Derrick
The
Henry.
people's yeah, the monster, the beast. Good
Derrick
old King
Henry.
Henry has fallen.
He has a broken, was it fifth metatarsal, if I'm not mistaken?
And I have a
Which,
broken heart.
yeah, we all do. Dang it,
He was my
we were.
starting running back in our keeper league in ESPN. Ugh,
Dude, I feel so bad because all right,
man.
so I had another friend in another league. He traded everything, and by everything I mean Dalvin Cook and Godwin and a bench
Oh,
player
jeez.
for Derrick Henry. And this happens. I'm like, you don't really have all of that many trade pieces left.
Yeah, you do not.
Because he has a lot of people. Like he would have to trade Jamar Chase at this point, and I'm like, that's not even worth it.
If a dynasty, no,
No,
you don't get rid of that.
I would say even
If
in a
it's a
redraft.
if it's a redraft, you just take the L. You've lost that. You've lost that year.
Yeah,
Like you're done. At that point, if you made that trade and you're starting running back that you just traded the whole house for goes down, you're losing that league.
yeah, it's over.
You just take it.
And I mean,
Take
I
the
feel
L.
like for Dynasty, this is your worst fear, just because it's like, oh crap, the in the words of Rocky Four, the Russian is cut, and you're like, oh wait, he's a mere mortal now, and it's like,
Yeah.
crap, do you really have to see it? So like I saw the sleeper alert, and I went, nah, it's all right. And then the next morning, you're like, oh no, he's potentially out for the season. And you're like, what?
Yeah. I thought it was just going to be like a multi-week thing and he'd be back for the playoffs and whatnot. And then they said he's out for the rest of the year. I'm like, oh, frick, man.
Yeah,
that ruins my whole year. I'm done.
That's quite the Monday morning bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm struggling right now in our ESPN league because I had David Montgomery and Derrick Henry. So both of my starting running backs now are down, and David Montgomery is going to come back, but I've been limping along with Devontae or not whoever is the backup running back over in New York.
Oh, Devontae Booker.
Yeah, Devontae Booker. There you go. Yeah, I've been Ryan Booker and Khalil Herbert for a while, and yeah, I had Calvin Ridley go down on me too. I'm I'm screwed in that league now. I'm like trying to limp to the finish line to the
Yeah,
playoffs
at this
right now.
point, you're just basically waiting on David Montgomery. David Montgomery, it sounded like a nursery rhyme. David Montgomery, David Montgomery. At least we remember his name now.
Yeah, really.
Basically, the bye week is coming up. I believe theirs is next week. So personally, I would be shocked if they're like, "Hey, David Montgomery, you're going to play right now."
They
But
are. They're having him play this week.
that kills Khalil Herbert too. So like that basically kind of
Yeah.
takes
But
them both
because
out.
he's gonna be a partial participant this week. So they're gonna let him take some snaps, but he's not gonna be the lead back.
There's no all right.
There's
Look,
no
I
reason
don't.
that they should be doing that.
Yes, there
No
is
reason.
absolutely no reason.
Khalil
All right.
Herbert's been taking over the backfield and has been doing fine.
Well,
Let David Montgomery sit another week and heal fully before you put him back on that field.
yeah, and I'm gonna take a look at him here too. Like, all right, let's think of it this. Yeah, literally has the bye next week, and then they play Baltimore. They're playing Pittsburgh this week. I'm sorry. No matter what, like the next 3 weeks, it literally is going to be hell as far as running the ball. So why on earth will you risk David Montgomery having a re-aggravated
re-aggravated his injury?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Just let him go. Let's let him go past the bye week. Let's think of it. I mean, so they lost one. I forgot if they didn't beat the Raiders. They didn't beat Green Bay. They didn't beat Tampa. Yeah, they're already having a losing record. So what's the point of rushing
they're
them out
struggling
there?
this year.
Yeah,
They're struggling
because of Matt Nagy. And if Matt Nagy's making this decision, oh hey, we need him out here, that's clearly someone looking out for his own job.
Yeah, of course.
There is absolutely no reason to put your best running back out in harm's way like this.
Yeah, of course. Like that's very, very bad. It's a very bad move for somebody to do. He's one of the faces of your organization. He's a young player, very successful player, and he's been one of the only actual producers on that offense this year. And you're to put him out there when he's not quite ready yet. I'd say, well, when it's unnecessary for him to be out there.
There's no look, he is a third year pro, second year pro. Like he's still young.
I think he's second or third year.
Yeah, still young. But even besides that, he knows what this game is. He doesn't need game reps to get back into it. This isn't preseason.
Yeah.
Especially when it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's defense has been otherworldly. And if they had a decent offense, they would be the best team in the league right now.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm just upset. I don't like calling for people's jobs, but I would love to see Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, and Fields and Montgomery to get a coach that can use them better.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
It's going to take shaking the trees over in Chicago to get Nagy out of there. So the people of Chicago, speak up.
Yeah. But
get that get your young quarterback and young team a better coach.
Yeah.
That can actually take care of his players.
Yeah. So. But back to your original point, because we went off on a David Montgomery tangent. The fact that it's terrible that Derrick Henry was out. I think he was going to smash the rushing record.
Oh yeah, he was on. He was on track to just absolutely kill.
And so honestly, it sucks to see that. Now, as far as your fantasy outlook, you're going to have to take your Derrick Henry of receivers and AJ Brown, and you're just going to have to. I think you're going to have to let it fly, especially for this week.
Yeah.
But let's see what Jerry McNichols has. I know he was picked up in our league. And then
McNichols
obviously,
and Adrian Peterson.
yep. And if all right, I'll say this: if Adrian Peterson is any like shred of what he was in Minnesota, I am looking at the Ravens and go, why on earth did you sign Le'Veon Bell and not Adrian Peterson?
Yep.
Because Le'Veon Bell looked like he was running in concrete.
He kind of struggled. But, I think this is a good pickup for him. I really do.
I think it's a good
I'm
team.
I'm looking at my lineup and I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
I wish Taysom Hill was in. That would have been awesome to see.
That would have been.
Recreated the playoffs last year. Yeah. I put Taysom Hill in when he was listed as a tight end.
Oh, it was so nice.
Oh, man. I can't believe I got that. I picked him up and I was like, yeah, I got a quarterback for a tight end.
I had Rodgers and Taysom Hill that week. It was really nice.
Yes.
So I know we have two more things of news. Not the good. Well, there's one that we really don't want to talk about, but we kind of have to. And then the other one, Calvin Ridley is stepping away from football as of right now.
Calvin Ridley, not permanently, but he's taking a mental health break. And, it may be a couple weeks. It may be the rest of the year. Who knows? Fantasy-wise, that sucks. For those of you, Calvin Ridley owners and Kyle Pitts owners, it sucks. But
for Calvin Ridley the person, but for Calvin Ridley the person, go take care of yourself.
I wish him, longevity in football depends on your mental and physical health. And there's a lot of people that break down being under that much stress every week to perform, to, be out on that field and give 100%. Just allowing him to take some time and get his mind right. And if that means coming back field, great. If not, wish him the best of luck.
Definitely. Especially like mental health is a very like important topic, and is definitely something that if you don't take care of it, it will take care of you.
Not in a good way.
And not in a good way at all. So we do give Calvin Ridley the best wishes. We hope that he finds what he needs to find, and we love to see him come back as a player, but gotta take care of himself first. So best of luck to him.
That should always be your priority.
Always a priority. And the other thing that we don't like saying, Henry Ruggs, unfortunately, as everyone knows by this point, in a very serious car accident that did kill someone who
was involved in a crash.
Involved in a crash. Looks like he's the one who caused it. Apparently driving very fast. We're not going to go into major details, but as of right now, it looks like his career is over. But we hope that he finds peace and not only like peace and solace, but understand the consequences of his actions.
And there is a chance that he may be able to come back, but for right now, his career may be up. Career may be up. He's looking at facing maybe at the max 26 years in jail, but more than likely he'll plead guilty and probably give him a fairly reduced sentence, because it was an accident. It wasn't anything intentional, but he made mistakes and he's got to pay that.
And we just hope that he learned from it.
Yeah. You just got to hope that, and what really sucks is he actually, I saw a video that was done when he was, can't remember where he went to school. Did he go to school in Alabama?
High school or college?
for college.
Oh, yeah,
College.
he went to Bama.
College. Yeah. So he was. It was a video of when he was at Bama. One of his friends in high school passed away because of a drunk driving accident, and they did a video of him telling him the story and all of that, and he was very emotional, and it was very heart wrenching. Well, and now this happens to him, and it's the other way around. He ends up killing someone. So it's it it's gut wrenching. Seeing somebody go through that. I feel for the victim. Her a 20 it was a 23-year-old, and her dog passed away because of the accident, and I feel for her and her family. My condolences go out. But yeah, everyone here has been affected by it. Everyone in that situation has been affected by it.
Yeah, so we just only hope for just things to take their course, but hopefully for the family to find peace and solace, and for Ruggs to learn from his actions. But also we hope that he does get the support that he very well needs right now.
Definitely. So on a different note, so moving on from kind of the
all the news.
Yeah, the news and things that have been happening around the league are not necessarily bright news. We've got the deadline. Trade deadline occurred on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So,
and nothing.
Well, yes and no. There were two major trades that happened, weren't necessarily at the deadline. The Chiefs acquired Melvin Ingram from the Steelers in exchange for a 2022 sixth-round pick. So I think that was pretty good.
It's pretty shoring good value
for shoring up their offensive line or their defensive line. It may help, but honestly, that whole defense is just a wreck right now, and they're struggling left and right.
So I will say this is a bigger if Melvin Ingram gets healthy. That's kind of the big caveat in this. This is a big move because basically what this allows Chris Jones to move back to his natural position at D tackle. And if that's the case, watch out, because now the Chiefs defense can actually wreak some havoc. They have three defense interior players that are fantastic. Jaron Reed, there's another guy. His name just completely escaped me. And then Chris Jones. Those three can wreak havoc. And then if you have Melvin Ingram and then Frank Clark on the outside, like you're able to shore up at least the D line. A lot of teams have basically taken advantage of Chris Jones being kind of almost too big to be a defensive end. So they've really taken advantage of him on the outside there. So basically, Kansas City is basically banking on totally forgot the point. Kansas City is banking on the fact that Melvin Ingram needs to be their starting D end yesterday.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, hey, this can be big. This can be this. Having a good D line shores up your secondary issues. I mean, you and I have always said, hey, check the trenches. We'll see what's really going on.
Yeah. And that's where everything starts, is in the trenches. If you have a good O-line, that's where your offense is based out of. That's the foundation of your offense. It's the same way with the defense. If you can get to the quarterback, offense isn't going to be able to do much. If you can stop the running game, I mean, you've got to have their game plan, figured out. So, I mean, it's the same on both sides of the ball.
And so who was the other trade that you want to talk about?
The other trade, Von Miller to the Rams for a 2022 second and a 2022 third. two major picks for a fairly veteran player, but honestly, like it may really help them, you know.
You mean to tell me
plus,
this?
seeing Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and Von Miller on the same defense.
And don't forget how dominant Leonard Floyd has been in this defense too.
Yeah.
So you get Von Miller and Leonard Floyd on each side of the ball.
Dangerous. That is dangerous.
Yeah.
Crazy. My gosh.
And even though the Rams' next first-round pick is probably in kindergarten right now, it really doesn't matter if you can get a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like they've been in,
and they're going for broke. Yeah, they're going for broke right now. This year and next year are deciding factors for the Rams organization. They're going for it right now. They really are, because they're stacking their offense and their defense in preparation for a Super Bowl run, either this year or next year. And this year seems like it could be a possibility. You know, they have a lot of stiff competition, but next year they're going to be solid. If there's no injuries or anything, they're going to be solid. So, yeah. So that's the only two trades that I really wanted to point out.
I mean, I know they're not necessarily a trade. There wasn't necessarily a trade but I will pose the question to you. Is OBJ even worth a fantasy look anymore? Because at this point, I'm willing to put my answer as no.
Ask me that next week.
When
he's going to be picked. He's going to be picked up by somebody. He's going to be picked.
All right, who do you think picks him up? Let's start off with that conversation. Like, who needs to pick up Odell?
What is the one organization right now that does not have any wide receivers? Solid number one wide receivers.
Detroit.
Yes. And they are number one on the waivers right now.
I think
so. Yeah, I think they're going to pick him up. I think they're going to sign him to a one. I think they're going to sign him to a one-year deal. He'll go up to Detroit. He'll rustle some feathers. You know, he's up there. He may not get an extension after that, but I think it'll give Detroit at least some semblance of being a contender or of making some move. Yeah, exactly. You know, at least give Jared Goff somebody to throw to. You know, he's been throwing to rookies and aged veterans for
Quintez Cephas isn't good enough.
Year. No.
How dare you disrespect Quintez Cephas?
No. But having OBJ there as a solid number one wide receiver who's proven, you know, he's a veteran, he's older, but he can still catch. I mean,
yeah, I see that one for sure. I've also thought, man, if Odell somehow falls, does New England make a call or does Buffalo make a call? I could see Buffalo because
I don't see Buffalo. They've got Diggs, they've got Sanders, they've got Beasley.
There's one more team. There's one more team we need to bring up.
What?
I think Kansas City needs to be like taken seriously as far as getting Odell. Because what has been, here's why. So you lose Sammy Watkins offseason, right? You basically are in the rumor mill. You paid up a lot of money for Juju. And then you go through the season, everyone's starting to cover Tyreek Hill. What do? You sign Josh Gordon to the practice squad. Now it's been a competition between Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, Mecole Hardman, and now Josh Gordon for the number 2 spot. No one's really shown out.
Yeah.
Do you just go grab Odell and just say, we're gonna find a way to get our number 2 receiver good to go? So someone has to actually like put a man on him, because the biggest thing that we've seen so far this year And I believe this is that Sammy Watkins has kind of been the key of all the weirdness so far. But it's because that he was a receiver that where you kind of had to respect him just a little bit,
Yeah.
enough for you to be kind of stretched out thin, so that lets Tyreek Hill kind of go off.
Yeah.
Odell would do that and then some, and as long as he stays healthy. But now I think that would open up Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
Yeah. It would open up their whole, they would open up the whole field, for everyone. So yeah, it would be nice to have that, because Tyreek hasn't necessarily been struggling, but you can definitely see Travis Kelce has been struggling a lot.
Kelce has been struggling a lot, but I think that's where the double team has kind of been.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with Tyreek Hill, he's going to casually get 27 out of nowhere. Honestly. Yeah. I think Tyreek Hill does Tyreek Hill things. It's just now everyone has an extra defender for Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest difference so far. So if you get someone like Odell, who will easily get targets from Mahomes, and I think
he's a big target for him.
If you can make it work, it's there. It's just does he fall that far?
Yeah, does he fall that far? Exactly.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It'll be interesting.
Not much about Odell in a long time.
I know. I mean, he hasn't been a headliner for a while, since he was in New York. Like, as soon as he got to the Browns, he kind of, because the Browns are a run first organization. They had Jarvis Landry there. They had Odell, and neither of them really shined. They had their moments. They were kind of flash in the pan moments where, they would just go off. That's it. There was no consistency. I bought into the Odell hype whenever he first went to Cleveland, and it let me down hardcore.
I just think injuries and
yeah.
It's if it ain't
that was
one
also
thing, it's another, and like that's kind of that's been the unfortunate situation. But at this point, it was just better for. I don't think Cleveland was going to get a trade partner.
Yeah,
because I don't think a lot of people just want to take that contract. So I think cutting him was the only choice.
Yeah, and any OBJ owners, I would hold on to him until at least the end of next week.
Until you figure out what's going on, for sure.
Because if he's just going to sit on the waivers, don't touch him. Just you can let go of him. But if he's going to get picked up, because if he gets picked up by Detroit, he's number one wide receiver.
He becomes at least a wide receiver to play.
He becomes a possible Kenny Golladay again. Like, it's that would be a big up for his target share, because my gosh, they don't have anybody over in Detroit that's of significance.
And that would open up Hawkinson, I think, too.
Yeah, that too. Because they've been smothering Hawkinson for the last couple of weeks.
Hawkinson has been hawked. Oh, that's for sure. Besides that, I think we just go into because it's been pretty busy in our dynasty league.
We'll just run through the dynasty stuff real quick and get through here, because we don't have a lot to talk about.
It's really about who do you play this week. That's kind of the
right now. I think we're both going to lose this week.
Unfortunately, here's the thing: Ethan's team is really good for this year. I still am going to hold on to the fact that I don't think next year looks very promising. But boy, this year can definitely be something.
Yeah, he's got a lot of players. Got a lot of good players, but I just don't know.
Yeah, so overall this week we had 7 waiver claims. The people who were picked up, I'll just run through them. Jeremy McNichols, Jeff Wilson Jr., Taysom Hill, Adrian Peterson, Dallas Cowboys defense, JaMychal Hasty, and Elijah Moore.
Yep.
I am happy. All right, let me just say this because all right, for people understanding, we are recording this Saturday night. This will show up on Sunday morning. Thursday night game already happened. The Elijah Moore game makes me happy. I know a lot of it was basically garbage time.
Yeah.
But he got open up for the first touchdown. That definitely wasn't garbage time. But he was getting targets. He was getting and that's with Jameson Crowder there, even though Corey Davis wasn't out there.
Yeah.
But that just makes me much more excited to when Zach Wilson gets out there. And here's why else I again, as the Zach Wilson fantasy owner, and why I still believe in him. Can we just say that there have been two completely different offenses played? Zach Wilson, they're basically like, you're really good. Our offense isn't that schematically good. So you're really good, but do what you got to do. All while being the most pressure quarterback in the league. Mike White, not the strongest arm, but he has been helped out by a lot of set up plays for him, which helps him gets the ball out quicker.
Yeah, and Mike White, my lord, 2 weeks
Insane.
ago, 37 of 45 passes, 405 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, he had 2 interceptions, but, that's understandable.
QB2.
My lord. Holy cow. That's crazy.
And he was doing all right for the Colts game until he got hurt, too. So I think Mike White has definitely played himself into staying in the NFL longer. But my goodness, New York Jets coaches, please give Zach Wilson the same chances you gave him.
Yeah.
That's only going to help your quarterback get into a rhythm. It's only going to help your quarterback not get killed and not be out for 4 weeks with a knee injury.
And gain confidence. That's a big thing. That's a big thing for rookie quarterbacks, is to gain that confidence. Knowing their team in the game and not getting pummeled all the time, and just interceptions, fumbles, getting sacked, all of that. It's terrible for rookie quarterbacks just to get a ton of those. Protect your quarterback.
And look what happened in the Colts game. The Colts said, we're not giving you the short passes. It took Josh Johnson to finally throw vertically, so unfortunately that lost all of Michael Carter's pretty much value for the week, but you thought Mike White was playing the whole time. That stuff happens. But without a doubt, come on, Jets. Y'all know how good Zach Wilson is. So at least give him a shot. Yeah. That's where it's you have to look at yourself. It's you can't just be Zach Wilson hit a 30-yard post route while someone in your face. You can't just let that happen. Give him the rhythm throws, give him the confidence throws, and then watch him be a way better quarterback. Because the quarterback that played against Tennessee and the one that was at BYU last year, guy's still there.
Yeah.
The guy's still freaky with the football. That sounded creepy. But the guy's still very, very talented with a football in his hands. So please give him a shot.
He's freaky with the football.
Freaky with the football. That's our new.
That's what it's. Yeah, that's what it's going to be now. He's freaky with the football. Yeah. So, I agree. I think, I think the Jets have a good base. They have a good running back. They have good wide receivers good young wide receivers in Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. They just need to build up that offensive line, and they did so with one of their picks this year. I can't remember.
Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton.
Vera Tucker. There you go. Yeah, I was going to say Vera Tucker. That was a good pick. I was hoping the Vikings would pick him up, but they did. They solidified part of their offensive line, but they've still got work to do.
More work to do, but Corey Davis has looked good. Jamison Crowder there, Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios, and then Michael Carter has really kind of taken the
Yeah.
running back room on a stranglehold. It's been him and Ty Johnson. Like
Yeah.
Kevin Coleman's basically unnecessary at this point.
Yeah.
And
And I drafted Ty. That was probably not a good move.
you do you.
I didn't think Michael Carter was going to do that well like this early.
I feel so vindicated about it. And what I feel, I mean, if we're going to go back talking about my draft picks, I mean, I feel good about Michael Carter. I do not feel the same about Allen Robinson. It doesn't matter anymore. I am free from the Allen Robinson jail. I am free.
Yeah.
And it feels delightful.
And I'm glad I didn't hop on that train this year in any of my leagues. I was planning on picking him. I was planning on picking him up. I love Allen Robinson. He has been actually on at least one of my fantasy rosters for the last like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And he's been just so solid. And then this year he's just like, it went from being Mr. Consistency every single year. Every week he'd get like 11 targets or 10 targets. And all of a sudden, boom, nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely
literally nothing to where he's
and I'm
getting
like, holy crap, man. Like
3 catches for 20 yards. And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. It's like, what are you invisible out on the field? Can your quarterback see you? Like, are you even there? So it's crazy. It's crazy. Just to see that flip the script just in 1 year, in one off season, just have the script flipped like that.
It's shocking, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I will so as me, unfortunately, with Allen Robinson in 2 of my leagues, what have I done so far? I traded him in both of my leagues. In one league, I traded.
It's probably a good move for you.
Yeah. Let's just say for the Dynasty League, me and Alex Hell agreed to a trade. I actually feel it's very fair on both sides.
You did.
I traded Allen Robinson, Ricky Seals-Jones, and AJ Green for George Kittle and a 2022 5th-round pick.
I feel like you got the much better end of that deal.
I think so too, but I think
George
it's
Kittle.
Because I think I can get 3 good years out of Kittle left.
Yeah,
I just need Kittle to stop being hurt. And on top of that, I recoup a draft pick, even though I gave up a 3rd round. I still have 2 5th round, and I'll be okay with that. But overall, AJ Green was always a temporary solution.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson has essentially become a temporary solution. I'm just going to cut my losses on that immediately because, unfortunately, he's kind of up there in age. Unless a better coach comes into Chicago, I don't know what else is going to happen here.
Yeah,
and then
especially with the competition that he has now for targets, a proven Darnell Mooney, where he's looking pretty solid. So he's got stiff competition for targets now in Chicago.
Yeah, and then Ricky Seals-Jones is the backup tight end.
Yeah.
In Washington. And so I feel like getting that for an injured star and a draft pick. I think it's a very even trade on both sides. I don't think I really fleeced anybody here.
No.
But I think
you got the better end of the deal.
I feel like having George Kittle here is going to help. And if he does contribute along with my CMC trade, now I have 2 stars I could kind of build my team around as the rest of my team starts developing. It took 6 weeks. I finally got Carson Wentz is my starter right now, who did really good, got 24 points.
Yeah.
And then along with Michael Carter, AJ Brown finally starting. It's I feel like I don't know if I'm necessarily a contender this year, but if I do, it's because of the moves I made and everyone just caught fire at the same time.
Yeah. Speaking of contender this year, who's scary right now other than Tyler and Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan I mean, it kind of feels like both of them.
Yeah.
And then I feel like either Ashley's team or Jacob's team if they catch fire.
True. But you know who else?
Your dad.
My dad.
I think
He is on a
legitimate.
4-win streak, and he's pretty much on track to win this week with only one person played.
Yes, because
Jonathan Taylor scored 41 points
19
on
carries,
Thursday night.
172 yards rushing, two
Two
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
I
And
with
it's crazy.
my
It's crazy.
lord.
That man is a monster. And I texted my dad on Thursday night, and I told him, I was like, you scored big getting Jonathan Taylor. Like
Yeah.
I almost picked him up over Swift, and I probably should have, but
Well,
I liked Swift over Jonathan Taylor just because I don't know. He's the feature back. I don't think what is it? Jamal Williams is going to be anything at offense
overall,
anymore.
I mean, he's kind of fizzled out. I think with Taylor though, I know you and I definitely had him in the idea of what should we do with our top 2 picks. And eventually you went with McCaffrey, I went with Dalvin Cook, and then only for us to basically flip-flop it 5 weeks later.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was like, you know what, Dalvin Cook's 26, that's still good enough. And overall, I think you and I, it kind of should have been, it should have been Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor 1 and 2.
And you don't know that until until later on in the season.
9 weeks. But back to the point here.
Yeah.
What did we say week 4 about your dad's team? We said
he was on a 4-week losing streak, and he had messaged the group chat, and he's like, I cannot believe that I lost like 4 in a row, and I'm 0-4 right now. And it was all because of weird happenings.
Everyone having their best week.
Like Derrick Henry would go off 1 week against him and have like 50 points. And then Cooper Kupp would go off and just absolutely demolish 1 week. And he had that for 4 weeks in a row, just teams going off on him. Well, now, last week, he had the most points out of everyone.
Last week was insane.
Yeah, last week he had the most points out of everyone. No, the second most points. My bad.
Yeah, 164.
I had the most points by 5 points. But I mean, yeah, it's just because my team went off.
He won. He won with with 2 busts in there.
Yeah.
With Devin Singletary and Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And his team is just, it's surprisingly solid. It really is.
And that was like the biggest thing that we said about your dad's team is like, look, when you're 0-4, but you're 4th in the league in points, like eventually the ball's going to swing in the other way. And obviously Allen takes off. Najee has been honestly a contender for RB1 this year. Jonathan Taylor has taken fire. Thielen is the receiver that all your metrics and numbers are like, now is the time to get rid of him. Still producing. T. Higgins has been all right. Travis Kelce's kind of been your biggest surprise. And if he's your biggest surprise, along with you picking up Elijah Mitchell, I'm still upset at that because I lost the waiver claim on him. And I was so first on them. But overall, like his team is solid. Now his bench, however, let's not talk about his bench, but his starting lineup is nasty. That's the only thing where if because I'm pretty sure Phillip is the team with Derrick Henry. Like, if you're the one with Derrick Henry, and especially in the Dynasty League, like he just does not have the bench to make this work.
Yeah.
And you and I have had to deal with CMC and Dalvin Cook being out this entire time. We've basically have had to go down into our depth, basically.
Yeah. And I've been scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like
Same here.
I don't want Saquon to come back. I don't want him to come back because I've been reading Devontae Booker for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Oh, I do not want him to come back, but I
I'll
am
tell you
very
what that is.
happy. Well, I am very happy for one that Tyrod is back
Yeah,
in
because that
Houston.
means Brandon Cooks is alive again.
Yeah, because Brandon Cooks goes from getting 9 points, 5 points, 7 points, back up to 20, 20 something points. He's consistently hit the first 3 weeks, 22 points. So I'm hoping he continues that whenever Tyrod gets back this week. But
Yeah,
who knows?
and obviously, I'm very excited. CMC is back. I will say in another league, I did trade for Saquon, just because I really think that he could be a second half league winner, largely because he's kind of one of the only running backs kind of still alive at the moment.
Yeah.
And before he randomly got hurt with the ankle. He was starting to look really good.
Yeah.
And so I know it's kind of it's right there. And as long as he gets 100% healthy, watch out. Because with all the injuries at wide receiver, they're gonna have to use him in the passing game. So I think the opportunity is going to be there.
Mm-hmm. It definitely will be.
This year more than anything, and I think this is a point we've brought up, that it's man, this year feels like war of attrition with running backs. So as long as you have running backs, you're good to go. Especially with the Derrick Henry news and CMC and Dalvin Cook and Antonio Gibson, and then all these other players. It has truly, that's been the reoccurring theme. Not to already talk about the fact that David Montgomery has been hurt, Cam Akers has been out for the year, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. There are so many top running backs injured to where personally for us, luckily they both got hurt. CMC and Dalvin got hurt really early. To now, we've been scraping the bottom of the barrel for running backs for weeks now.
Yeah, and I've been lucky that I picked up Zach Moss way late in the draft, and I was able to stash him. So he's kind of been my saving grace right now. He's kept me just in competition.
But Zach Moss has been getting the targets and the rushing yards, excuse me.
Yeah, and
where it's
I'm hoping
that's a viable point.
Yeah, and I'm hoping he takes over. Kind of why I picked him up. I'm hoping he takes over Singletary's position, and he takes over as number one back, workhorse next year. And now I don't know if that happens or if that will happen.
Probably not, I would say, just because it's
Singletary also. True. Singletary also suffers from, injuries a lot. So his first year, he was plagued with them. But I'm hoping that Zach Moss comes out next year. But this is, for now, he's a good bye-week replacement for me. Right now I have DeAndre Swift that's out, and I've got Dalvin Cook and Damian Harris that are kind of just chilling.
Damian Harris is in my about lineup. To go through a buzzsaw this week. He has Carolina.
Yeah. But, so you think he's not going to be good?
No. I think he'll get a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a tough time sledding. He may be a 14 carry, 65 yards kind of deal, but he'll get the one touchdown. Gotcha. So I'm only expecting about 12, 13 points out of Damian Harris. Just Carolina is just one of those really, really good run defenses.
Yeah.
It could be a Mac Jones game. But actually, no, not really, because Gilmore, Bouye, are playing out there. So that game's going to be a slug it out fest. It's going to be like 17-13.
See, I don't know. I have Booker in my lineup right now, but I have Zach Moss sitting on my bench. So between that, Damian Harris, Devontae Booker, and Zach Moss, between those three,
I go Moss and Booker.
You want Moss and Booker?
They both have the better matchups. Booker has been all right. Raiders haven't been very good at stuffing the run, but way better at the pass. Booker's more of a running back anyway. Zach Moss gets Jacksonville.
Yeah, see, that makes sense. Makes sense.
All right, and so are you ready to hear my lineup question for you?
Yeah.
Zach Moss or Kadarius Toney?
Well, who's Toney facing?
Raiders.
Ooh.
I've been dealing
Toney has huge upside. I think Zach Moss would be a consistent if you want a consistent production from him.
Well,
I'd go with Zach Moss. But if you're looking for
if
you're looking for a wild card that needs a big play, yeah, go with Toney.
Okay.
If you need a lot of points and you're willing to I don't know.
Go for broke.
Yeah, pretty much go for broke.
Yeah. Because I started in this league, I started Michael Carter, who only got 9.6 points. Michael Pittman got 17, thankfully. I'm still projected to lose by 10 points, though. And I feel like I want to play Zach Moss because I love the matchup. But I also feel like Toney is the only one that's going to get me to that 10-point gap.
Yeah.
So
I would do it. I would do it.
You okay?
I would Toney.
Now, another question for you.
Another answer for you.
Zach Moss or Elijah Mitchell?
I would say Elijah Mitchell.
That's who I felt too.
Yeah. That's just gut feeling.
At this point, I'm kind of hoping Kadarius Toney takes off. And then Mitchell just has a really good game against an Arizona team that does not have JJ Watt.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't have Kyler either.
And yeah, potentially might not have Kyler. It could be an Elijah Mitchell game. Could be a Jeff Wilson game. So that's kind of I'm not starting Khalil Herbert. I know he only got 8 points last week, and I think it would have been okay. Khalil Herbert with the timeshare now with David Montgomery and the fact that it's Pittsburgh, just don't even try.
Yeah.
But I will say for anyone listening, and in dynasty leagues, maybe just because all the running backs are taken, this may not be the trade looking into. But if you're in a keeper or a redraft league, now is your time to get running backs.
Yep.
That's going to be my tip for everybody right now is, look, there's so many good receivers out there. You're going to put up a solid lineup no matter which way, whoever you have. But there is a very like what we've always learned with tight ends. There's a very scarce amount, so get them. And it's time to do the same thing with running backs.
Yep.
And it's time, and like also, I learned this in my video production classes. Don't be afraid to kill the things you love. So in one league, I had to trade away Nick Chubb.
Oh.
But it got me Mike Evans and Saquon in return, and Saquon has a higher upside. So if that comes to fruition, like that's where it's going to work for me. But with all these teams, the best teams right now that you're seeing have the best running backs, 100%. Unless there's a league that has Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill on the same team. That's the only exception.
Yeah, and then you're just blowing everybody up out of the water.
Yeah. But especially if for this season, get running backs now.
Yep.
Without a doubt, because that's going to lead you into the playoffs and into being a serious contender more than anything.
Because you can have if you have 2 flex positions, you can have a solid 1-2 punch on your running backs. So RB1, RB2 are solid running backs, like my dad has. He's got Najee Harris and
Jonathan
JT
Taylor.
and JT, yeah. And he's had them in his lineup every single week. And my gosh, he is just killed. And he's got 2 mediocre wide receivers in Adam Thielen and T. Higgins. So he's got his 2 flex positions are covered by backup running backs. And that's crazy, And
he's been one of the top leaders in points with
over
having
the last
2 running backs. And the biggest thing with receivers, like they're all going to have an off game someday.
Yeah.
But with the running backs, is as long as you're going to have solid running backs who can get passing work, who has most of the carries, like that will take you longer. It's why we draft running backs first round every single year.
Yeah.
And more than anything, like I've always taken it. I'd rather have I'd rather have 1 top running back and 1 top receiver than two of each. I think this year has taught me you need to get your top 2 backs and then set everything else. Because the biggest thing here is, there has been so many good receivers, like Michael Pittman, we can add to the conversation now.
Yeah.
And then hopefully
Ayuk
and hopefully Justin Jefferson and
Pittman has just blossomed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and Mike Evans and Godwin and AB, Rashad Bateman, Hollywood this year, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, like the Stephon Diggs. The list goes on and on and on.
Yep.
What are your top running backs right now this year? Not CMC, not Dalvin Cook. They've been hurt. Derrick Henry was the top one before he got hurt. Yep. Now you're looking at a rookie running back, Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor, Kamara, DeAndre Swift, exactly. But out of all the receivers we named, we just named 4 running backs that came to mind off the bat. So many of them get hurt. Now, obviously, if they get hurt, you have to find pivot options, but you can be in such a better spot to start trading at 5-2 instead of forcing a trade when you're 2 and 5, and you're like, crap, I need to buy wins. And so at least having the running backs there helps solidify what you can do next, because it's a lot easier to find the next best receiver rather than your next best running back.
Yeah. Yep. Ain't that the truth?
And that is why I am losing. Welcome to my TED Talk.
That is why next year I am really going to be scouting running backs, because the running backs right now, shoot, I've got a nice set of young wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, and Godwin.
Yeah, you have a great trio.
Yeah, I've got a nice set of wide receivers. What I really need is a solid running back. I need somebody to back up Swift. I've got Zach Moss. He's a good plug, but I need Dalvin Cook is my number one. But right now, I'm full strength. I need one more running back.
Yeah.
And a quarterback.
And
I need a solid quarterback too.
Yeah, I think with Trevor Lawrence, give him the second and third year progressions as a quarterback. I
Yeah.
think you at least have to give him the rookie contract. But I think
Yeah.
you'll know midway next year whether he's the guy or not.
Yeah. And that's why I strategized whenever I was going through the draft. I strategized taking the younger quarterback early in the draft and then letting Tom Brady fall because I picked up Tom Brady. Shoot. Yeah. I drafted him 13th round. So I picked him up a little later, but I know that, Tom Brady's going to sit there. He's going to produce for at least the next 2 years, this year and next year. Now, next year has a little bit of a question mark, but at least I have some wiggle room with that. So at least I give Lawrence a year at least to adjust being into the NFL, being in the NFL, being in a new system, all of that. And I really hope that he gets his feet under him. He's looking like a solid quarterback. He just needs a good team around him. But I hope that he can become that next level talent. So
Yeah.
but that's why I kind of strategized with taking Tom Brady because I knew I was gonna get a rookie quarterback, and I was striving for that. Getting a rookie quarterback so I have young talent on my team, but I also need veterans to back them up if they're not quite ready yet. So that's why I took Tom Brady. So
and
it's worked out for me.
Definitely has worked out for you. I mean, you're doing really good in the league right now.
Well, yeah, Tom Brady is like a quarterback one right now.
Yeah, Tom Brady's been on fire this year.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, going back to the RB argument, but going back to the age, like I took chances on quarterback this year as well. And unlike you getting Brady, I didn't do that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick a crap ton of quarterbacks and we're gonna see what works. I have started Mac Jones, I have started Teddy Bridgewater, and now I'm finally kind of figuring out in Carson Wentz, who has looked good the past 2 weeks. Now
he's looked good. I mean, the past month and a half.
Yeah,
to be honest,
like he definitely has
solid QB.
Yeah, all while I got Mac Jones and Zach Wilson, and I don't have to like kind of just like hide and look away as I put them in my starting lineup. Yeah. I think for me, what's kind of killed me more than anything is the tragedy that is known as Antonio Gibson, because I think if that were on the projection as he was last year, I think we're doing okay. But all the trades that's kind of happened this year has been the product of me panicking, knowing I need a running back. Dalvin Cook has been good, but hurt.
Yeah.
ETN, I drafted in the 5th round, out for the year in preseason. Gus Edwards out before week 1. And but the thing is, like, that's the running back position. So not only do you have to think you're 5 deep on running back, you probably have to go 6, 7 deep.
Yeah.
Just to give yourself a chance. And luckily with dynasty formats, you can do that. But overall, like, whenever people say you can never have too many corners or you can never have too many pass rushers or anything like that, in fantasy football, you can never have too many running backs.
Ain't that the truth?
That's the lesson I think we should take today. And what an episode.
Yeah.
It's been so much news, so many things that we have to discuss. And thank you all again for listening to this week's episode of the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. Late night for both of us, but nothing keeps us going like fantasy football and actual football.
And ready for tomorrow.
And tomorrow looks like there's going to be a great games. Ravens are going to kill the Vikings for sure. And
you probably are.
You knew I had to get it in there. I only wish we were together for this if I didn't work tomorrow. But in a week that job is no longer. But in the meantime, you can catch us once a week. I am Josh. That is Ryan. We will see y'all next week. And have a good one.